What accents do you struggle with when preparing for IELTS listening? In this episode, let's jump into accents and how we can prepare for IELTS listening. Hey guys, welcome to episode 36 of Hacking IELTS. If you're joining us for the first time, this is a podcast and a YouTube channel dedicated to helping new and intermediate IELTS test takers understand the exam and attain higher results. All right, let's review what we looked at from our last episode. We took a deep dive into relative clauses, which are used to give us more information about a person or a thing that we're discussing. Once again, relative clauses start with relative pronouns, such as who, that, which, those, where, and when. Okay, let's move on to this week's topic, and that is the subject of accents. Since IELTS is an exam that can be taken anywhere in the world, we need to be prepared for the fact that there will be several different types of accents for the listening section. While you will certainly encounter British and North American accents, there's also a chance you'll hear Australian or New Zealand accents. Some of my students have commented on the struggle they have with British English as well as the Australian accent in comparison with the North American accents. This is most likely due to the popularity of American film and TV shows. But even in North America, we have a host of different accents, which can vary in Canada and in the United States. However, for the most part, Midwest Canadians sound pretty similar to our friends south of the border. At the time of recording this episode, I'm currently living in Dubai, and more often than not, people mistake me for being an American. Years ago, when I taught in Korea, it kind of bothered me a little bit, but these days, I don't think it's such a big deal. In the event that you actually hear a Canadian accent, it'll most likely be from Toronto or Vancouver, since these are our biggest cities, and of course, will sound more similar to a standard American accent. We have more regionalized accents, especially in Eastern Canada, for example, in Newfoundland or Quebec. And because of the French influence in Quebec, there's a distinct difference to be heard in comparison to other provinces. So how can you actually prepare for these different types of accents? Years ago, one solution would be to listen to radio programs from countries such as Australia, New Zealand, or Canada. But now with the proliferation of new media, such as podcasts and tech such as smartphones, well, you can pretty much listen to any program on the planet if you have Wi-Fi or a data package. And just to talk about this show for a minute, there are many more subscribers for the podcast than the YouTube variation. I think that podcasts are a great alternative as you can be doing other tasks while listening, and I personally subscribe to several podcasts. And another great option is to download audiobooks. Once again, you're able to focus on other tasks without having to fix your eyeballs on a screen. And there are tons of amazing books available in audio format these days. I personally love Audible, and it's a great resource for finding new books to help you with any area you want to learn, or there are fictional books as well. If you do want to go the visual route, you may want to find documentaries or any genre of film, but find them with the accent you wish to bend your ear towards. Since I'm a fan of the film director Guy Ritchie, his films are fantastic for training your ear for British accents, and are just amazing films in terms of both dialogue and cinematography. As you're probably already aware, you can switch on the subtitles for most content, which will be extremely helpful. And since my wife's Brazilian, we often switch on subtitles for movies or shows, especially if the accents are really heavy, such as in the deep south of the States, or when watching British film or TV series. Oh yeah, and another great resource, of course, would be listening to BBC News or other news programs for the flavor of English you wish to get more experience with. You could do the same thing and track down South African, Australian, New Zealand, or even Canadian movies just to get a feel for how we say and do things a little bit different from the Americans. I've yet to hear an IELTS listening clip that uses Irish or Scottish accents. Let me know if you've heard these two in your experiences preparing for IELTS. I've heard some teachers also recommending listening to songs, which may prove to be useful. But speaking from my own personal experience as a musician and listening to various artists for decades, most singers in English tend to sound fairly similar. For example, I love a lot of British and Australian alternative rock, and to be honest, the accents aren't super heavy in the songs when compared to the same artists when they're speaking in an interview. There will be a few minor differences, of course, but for the most part, the accents seem to get a bit washed down in musical form. Anyways, that's my own personal opinion, but you could always conduct a little test and see if you can notice much difference between your favorite artists from different countries. For the most part, you're going to hear mainly the British accent on the exam, so it's probably best to find as many resources as possible accordingly. Okay guys, this wraps things up for this week. Did this episode help you out? Let me know in the comment section on YouTube. And be sure to subscribe for new videos like this every week. Or be sure to subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. You can also sign up for free courses over at hackingielts.com. Take care, guys, and I'll catch you in the next one.